Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit.
Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio.
That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplify Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplify Development Services.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Hear the BCSN SportsWrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Mobile banking from Truist actually works for you. It gives you simple, smart, personalized insights to keep you one step ahead. Because we think
That's the kind of control you deserve over your money. When you start with care, you get a different kind of bank. Truist. Download the mobile app now.
At Tyson, we know taste is local. Some like their beef pit smoked, their chicken spiced all the way up, or their pork sweet and saucy. Local flavors, global impact. That's what feeding the world is all about.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loot machine.
Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit.
Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio.
That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplified Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplified Development Services.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN SportsWrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-39.
Find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Mobile banking from Truist actually works for you. It gives you simple, smart, personalized insights to keep you one step ahead. Because we think that's the kind of control you deserve over your money. When you start with care, you get a different kind of bank. Truist. Download the mobile app now.
At Tyson, we know taste is local. Some like their beef pit smoked, their chicken spiced all the way up, or their pork sweet and saucy. Local flavors, global impact. That's what feeding the world is all about.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loot machine.
Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit.
Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio.
That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplified Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplified Development Services.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN SportsWrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Mobile banking from Truist actually works for you. It gives you simple, smart, personalized insights to keep you one step ahead. Because we think that's the kind of control you deserve over your money. When you start with care, you get a different kind of bank. Truist. Download the mobile app now.
At Tyson, we know taste is local.
All right, welcome to a live edition of the BCSN SportsWrap. I'm Brian Fulford. That's A.D. Drew, and we are two gassed brothers right now who have just coming out of calling a doubleheader baseball game today, and somehow we still come on the air to try to get this done because, Drew, there's so much to talk about, and we just couldn't help ourselves, could we?
Of course not, man. Of course not. And can I start this show off with a public service announcement, Brian?
Okay, I'd love to hear it. There might be a lot of those today, so I'm curious. Let's hear yours.
Public service announcement. It's spring football. Let's not get too excited about how our team looked against our team. If your team does not look good in spring football, you have problems. They are supposed to look good. It is supposed to look promising. So just want to throw that out before everybody gets excited about what they are starting to see as we had our opening scrimmages in spring football this past weekend, Brian. So I just have to get that off of my chest.
Oh, yeah, I was sitting here looking around for the spring
the spring games. I had sent a text to our guy Jamie Walker to try to get the list of teams that had spring games. I know North Carolina A&T had theirs. Albany State. He said Tuskegee had theirs.
Alcorn had theirs.
Alcorn has theirs. Yeah. It's one of those things that I want to get at least kind of start building my calendar or just kind of know, because I'll kind of spend the week bumping around on different sites and pages trying to see not only what kind of coverage those schools gave out or put out, but also just kind of following along to kind of see what the reaction is. You got some kind of graphic there popping up there in the page there, Drew. Yeah. All right, so we got a lot going. It wasn't you?
That wasn't me. I mean, it popped up, but it wasn't me controlling that.
Well, that's
scary.
Yeah. Yeah, we might want to see where that one came from. But anyway, a lot of busy stuff going on today. I want to thank you guys for taking a few minutes. We won't be long. We're here for a good time, not a long time tonight, because obviously with the show starting later, we definitely don't want to be here later, because, you know, as much as I know I would love to ramble on, I still haven't had dinner. I'm just going to be honest with you. I know Drew probably hadn't had dinner either. Unless you were
want me to tell you the truth, you want me to lie to you.
Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me.
All right.
You snuck in some.
I snuck it in. I snuck it in.
Oh, you bastard! You snuck in dinner during that.
Well, it wasn't dinner. It was a hearty snack.
Oh hell! I had lunch in between games, so I mean between game 1 and 2, I had lunch, and afterwards, you know, it's just the drama of sports is what captivated me and captured me over the last couple of hours, and man, do we have it. So let me get the particulars out of the way. I want to thank everybody watching on YouTube, Facebook as well. Appreciate you guys coming into the chat rooms already. Got some folks in there already in the chat room. Walter Harley, David Garner, Tamara T, Mary 305, Edwin Moore, Jeremiah Clark, Edward. Thank you guys for coming into the chat room and chatting it up with us. I'm sure we'll see some of the usuals on Facebook, like Chuck Hunt and others. I think I already saw a post from Chuck, so we appreciate him. Follow us, please. Hey guys, look, we're trying to expand the following count on YouTube. We're trying to get to 2,000 followers, and so it's something about that graphic right there, that support graphic, Drew. That's the one right there that's causing the issue. I don't know why that's popping up, but it eventually goes away. So for those who are watching and are like, what's up with the logo? I don't know. But anyway, follow Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're trying to build up those numbers with real people, not bots, true organically grown numbers. So if you haven't or aren't already following us on one of those platforms, I'd greatly appreciate it if you go. If you haven't, just follow us. Even if you don't follow us per se, you following helps. You know what I'm saying? And we might be able to put out something interesting over the course of time that we appreciate it, but we're just trying to build up the algorithm. I'll be honest. That's what we're trying to do. But we're trying to get to 2,000 followers on YouTube. And so it seems like we should have a little bit more than that, but it's been slow going. And so, you know, again, no bots.
People follow us, but they don't like and subscribe, Brian. That's the problem.
that sounds. Hey, you know what? That sounds kind of weird. To borrow a line from Bomani Jones, if you follow but you're not liking and subscribing, I I might be. What does he say? I might be inclined to think you're a hater. Something to that degree. So, I mean, well said. That, and so I had to follow. When I heard
see
him
the
say that, I agree. I had to follow. I
I
had to
see the
subscribe.
numbers.
Right?
You see the numbers. I see
Yeah.
the numbers, Brian.
Yeah. So, yeah. So we were broadcasting a Benedict College baseball game, Morehouse and Benedict, and Benedict. Put it like this:
We
a
we
football
said it was
game.
spring football time.
Yeah, a spring football game broke out in game number 2. Benedict put 14. Actually, in game 1, Benedict won 14-4 over Morehouse. Game 2, they beat them 21-11 in almost a football fashion score. I mean, honestly, at one point it was 21-7, and then 21-10, and I kept thinking, my God, man, this is some good old SIAC football that we got here.
I thought we was at Charlie W. Johnson Stadium for a moment, Brian.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you what, man. But pretty much, and that was a doubleheader. They will play game 3 of that series tomorrow afternoon at Benedict. So, Benedict is a young baseball squad, and I'll tell you, after what we saw, be on the lookout for Benedict in the next couple years. I don't know, they have some nice hitting and they do run a lot. I mean, they're one of the top. What was the stat that you found when we were doing the game, Drew, regarding steals?
They have stolen, coming into this weekend, they stole 113 bases out of 126 attempts in 19 games. Just to put that into perspective.
Hold on, let me do the numbers. Let me average. Let me average. Give me the total of stolen bases again.
Coming into the 113 out of 126.
Okay, so I'm gonna just say they've stolen 113 out of, you said 19 games.
In 19 games.
So that's about 6 stolen bases per game. 5.94 to be exact. 5.95. And what the number 1 team does what?
They are the number 1 team.
They are the number 1 team.
The number 2 team in the nation in stolen bases has stolen 109 bases in 29 games, Brian.
109 and 29. Wow, that's an average of 3.75. So, yeah, wow, that's nearly 2 more bases stolen a game by Benedict, and they've done it in 10 less games. So, yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to take a look at that. So we might have just put anybody who wants to do some research, take a look. What's the Division II record for stolen bases in a season, or maybe just stolen bases in Division II over the course of 30 games? Because I don't think Benedict is going to hit the 40 game mark.
No, not
probably hit the 30.
And keep in mind, Brandon O'Connor, who's left Benedict last year, set the single season stolen base record last year. So this is not a new trend for Benedict.
Yes, that's a great point. They did have the nation steal leader last year. Now they just got a team full of thieves. And that's what it looked like. That's just what it looked like. I mean, you get a guy on and it's just gone. First pitch gone. I mean, first pitch, no hesitation.
Little league.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's just what they do. So I'm looking forward to seeing them in the spring. Well, I don't know. Will they compete in the spring baseball championships to the top
8?
Everybody.
Top 8.
Okay, top 8. So yeah, we'll have to take a look at the standings a little bit later at another time. All right, Drew. So I told you I wanted to get into talking about some of the stuff that's going on. As some of my kids like to say in school, what's the T? I'll tell you, the T right now is all about college basketball and specifically women's college basketball. Now, I know we had the HBCU All-Star game going on, and I will say this: I'm not a big fan of All-Star games because usually I want to know, if guys are playing for something, there's a competitive spirit. Now, I will say the HBCU All-Star game held in Houston, Texas, put on by CBS, happened to be on at the same time as the women's national championship game, which was airing on ABC. So, first off, I want you to think about it. We finally get a day where, HBCU basketball is getting featured on a major network at a major, a decent time on Sunday afternoon. That's a pretty good time slot, Sunday afternoon. And it happens to go against another sport that is really starved for ratings. I mean, let's be real. Women's college basketball, women's basketball in general is starved for ratings, much like HBCU sports, are sometimes starved for ratings, or just the numbers to project and to get out to advertisers and to draw in the kind of money that is out there. Two sports that really need a ratings boost. And so for some reason, instead of ABC, this game the women's national championship game used to always come on Sundays about 6:00, I think, 6 or 7. For some reason, this game is being played at 3:30 in the afternoon. So needless to say, you've got, this women's game going up against the HBCU All-Star basketball game. So I applaud any and everybody in the audience, the people who watch us. And I mean, we I guess, Drew, we should be talking about the All-Star game, but I mean, I mean, are we going to talk about who is the MVP? I mean, does anybody get a guaranteed contract or tryout? That's the kind of stuff I want to see. I'm like, hey, look, the team that wins gets a guaranteed invitation to the NBA scouting combine. That would be an incentive for me to really watch, because I'm like, okay, who's playing their hardest to get into this combine? Right? That's what I want to see. I don't know if that happens or not, to be honest. But anyway.
Good and doggone well that don't happen.
So I will say that for those who didn't know, okay, the final score was Team Barnett 113, Team Reed 99. So if you had the over 187 or over 190, maybe you played. If you had over 200 in game, then you probably cashed a ticket, right? Because that's a total of 212 points. The MVP of the tournament of the game was Maryland Eastern Shore's Nathaniel Pollard Jr., who posted a double-double in the game. I don't know exactly what his numbers were. I don't see the stat book. Anybody has his exact numbers, please post that for me. Team Dr. Barnett, that's the team that ended up winning. So congratulations to those guys. Let me see if I can quickly scroll and find out who was on that team. For example, that team consisted of Joe Barnett, Chris Bankston from Norfolk State, Isaiah Burke from Morgan, Brendan Medley Bacon from North Carolina Central, Sam Sessions from Coppin State. I mean, hell, that's a hell of a squad from right there. That's all first team. That's the first team MEAC squad right there. Of course, Nathaniel Pollard Jr., Demetric Horton of A&T, Marquise Goodwin of Hampton, Junior Clay, who was a first team All OVC for TSU, Greg Boyd, who's all SIAC for Tuskegee. Kerry Richardson of Morehouse, he was second team, but really, I mean, dude is a bucket. I've called enough games for Morehouse to know he's probably worthy of first team consideration. And then you had Iliak Bowles of Savannah State. He too was a first team all SIAC. So, you know, with all due respect, Drew, when I look at one team versus this other team, and of course, you know, this team, the Dick Barnett team, this team was built to win this game. I mean, this was a team. I mean, of course, these two teams are, you know, made up, you know, of SIAC and MEAC guys primarily, versus the other team, which is made up of CIAA and SWAC guys. So again, SWAC basketball
and they
takes a
mixed
hit.
it. And they mixed it up because I believe last year it was MEAC and CIAA were together, and SWAC and SIAC,
Okay.
just like in the All-Star football game.
Yeah. Well, again, SWAC basketball takes a hit. I'll just say that because the MEAC had the better rating during the year, and then the guys from the MEAC win this. So this we just call this the forgettable SWAC basketball season.
But hold up, they had the CIAA with them, Brian. That should have balanced it out.
You know, again, let me go back to look. Let me see who's representative from that CIAA. Robert Osborne, a player of the year. Corey Williams. They only had two guys. Two guys. That's it. Two. You know, say what you want. You know, say what you want. You got two guys from the CIAA. I think
maybe they just did not decide to come. And then again, maybe those other first teamers were underclassmen.
Okay, it's possible. It's possible. I mean, you know, you guys out there. You tell me if I'm right or wrong here. But I'm just I'm just looking at it like I don't know, Drew. But anyway, so shout out to the that game was hosted at Texas Southern.
Right, first time that the HBCU All-Star game has been hosted on an HBCU campus.
Yeah, well,
and
yeah,
as,
it made
and
sense.
as a matter of fact, I think even with the All-Star basketball games and other All-Star events, this may be the first one actually hosted at an HBCU. All-Star football, All-Star basketball, All-Star baseball. None of them have been on an HBCU campus, to my knowledge.
Well, I think you know you had to do it at a campus site, either Houston or Prairie
They didn't do it at the campus. They didn't do it at the campus site last year.
Well, it was in Cleveland. I mean, I think it was Cleveland last year. Who's up there?
Cleveland State.
Central.
Did they do it at Cleveland State?
That's not an HBCU.
I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying, was it on the campus? Period.
They did it. No, they did it at the same site where. You know, the NCAA will use. Well, I don't know where. You got me thinking here. I don't know where it was last year, because that means. Anyway, they what they'll do is the NCAA obviously wants to use arenas for the Final Four, and then they have these what used to be good enough, which was a standard like NBA.
But that's where they do the fan stuff and the shooting rounds.
That's where they
3-point shootouts and stuff like that. Yes.
Right. I don't recall offhand where they had the tournament last year, to be honest.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they have some other events over at Texas Southern as part of the NBA as part of the weekend?
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they had worked it out in a way where they had, you know, Texas Southern as a site.
Yeah. And Brian, let's talk about the state of Texas for a moment. State of Texas had the women's Final Four in Dallas.
Yep.
had the McDonald's All-American game earlier this week in Houston. I hope you didn't sleep on that.
I did sleep on it. Again,
That was
I
also
go back
in
to
Houston.
I'm not a fan of All-Star games, but yes,
Okay.
that was in. Okay.
Then you had the collegiate All-Star game in Houston, obviously, because that's always at the Final Four site.
Talking about the Reese's All-Star game, correct?
Right. Yeah, because that's always at the Final Four site.
Which Joe Wright showed out as a co-MVP.
Yeah, along with the Final Four and the HBCU All-Star game. So the state of Texas has gotten over on basketball this week and made a lot of money off y'all basketball fans. They got a lot of exposure.
Yeah, state of Texas. Now, and the numbers do look good. So, the attendance-wise, the viewership looks good as well. So it'll be interesting to see what the numbers were. It'll be an actual metric that we can measure. So we will be able to measure the HBCU All-Star game against the Women's National Championship game, which featured two very polarizing players, a very polarizing coach. Needless to say, the drama was thick as molasses in this contest. You go into the Final Four with South Carolina, and they're unbeaten. I think it was like a 42-game streak. Virginia Tech's there for the first time with a black head coach. And Drew, I tell you, I've sort of adopted this philosophy when covering games or watching games. The story is always in the losing locker room. The story is always with the losing team, because two of the bigger stories that came out of the semifinals for the women dealt with the losing teams. I'm Drew. I feel like, what I need to do. I'm going to catch myself and pause here, because I am so I want to get on a show with. I'm not. This isn't against you, but I'm just saying I don't want to bore you to death. I don't want to bore our people who tune in to talk and listen about HBC. I don't want to bore y'all. So if there's anybody who wants to talk about women's college basketball for just a day, I would love to do that, because I got questions. I don't follow women's college basketball nearly enough, but I love drama. And Drew, I'm petty. I love petty and I love drama. And then I love basketball. So I don't know. I shuffle the order of importance there between drama, basketball, and petty. But I feel like this weekend I had all of it. And I just sucked it up. I really did. I really did. You had drama with the Virginia Tech team. You had the South Carolina and Don Staley's comments, which, wow, she strong words, to say the least. And so that was the first night. And then today you had, I call this, Drew, I call today was the reincarnation of Magic versus Bird some 44 years later, 43 or 44 years later. Some of us weren't alive, or some of us weren't really paying attention to what's going on in 1979. But I think there's been a couple of sports documentaries about the importance of Magic versus Bird in 1979 in their championship appearance. Magic playing for Michigan State, Larry Bird playing with Indiana State. And, those two ended up going into the NBA into the same year and really transforming what became the NBA that we grew to love in the 80s and 90s, right? So this game featured a young lady, Caitlin Clark of Iowa, who, I mean, she's got Steph Curry swagger. She's got Steph Curry range. I mean, she scored 1,000 points in a season, Drew. This season, she scored 1,000 points. I mean, there's some people who go 2 seasons, maybe 3, to get 1,000 points. She scored 1,000 in 1 season. And then you had Angel Reese, who transferred to LSU. Kim Mulkey's the head coach in her second year. LSU had, she glossed herself Bayou Barbie. She's a tall, almost looks like a younger version of Candace Parker. Like, you remember Candace Parker from the, what was it, early 2000s or 90s? I mean, look, when I was younger, I mean, look, even now, Candace is still beautiful. But I mean, even then, I mean, that drew young boys to the young men probably to the TV is to watch Tennessee and Candace Parker, no doubt. Okay, so Angel Reese, is with the NIL now. I mean, she's able to profit off of this Bayou Barbie persona that she sort of created. And just Kim Mulkey. I mean, Kim Mulkey is just ridiculous. I mean, just a hell of a coach. I mean, so there's all kinds of stuff going on here, Drew. But needless to say, LSU puts up a record 102 points in a game against Iowa. 102, which broke a record. And I'm telling you, at the end of the game, though, all we're going to be talking about is this. Which is that's Caitlin Clark's signature thing. When she scores and she's going wild and busting 40 on people's heads, I'm like, she's doing this right all game long and getting the crowd excited. And so in the final 10 seconds of the ball game, Angel Reese was kind of, I don't know if she said anything, but she was in her space. Let me say that. She was in her space and she was just doing this. And then she's like this. I don't think she said anything, Drew, but I gotta have Angel Reese needs to declare for the NBA or the WNBA, because I could go with another 10 years of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese in the WNBA and just carry this over, just like Magic and Bird did. These two young ladies might be what the WNBA needs to lift itself out of these conditions that we often hear them complain about. I got more to say, but anyway, Edwin Moore, I don't know if you look, I may have to, Edwin Moore, I see you commenting there. If you want to do a show, hit me up on the DM. We may have to, if you want to do a show regarding this women's basketball thing, I would love to spend time talking more about it. But Drew, that's my end of my rant about women's basketball. Would you care to comment or just be like, nah, I'll pass?
Look, I just thought it was sad that, and I don't know why I'm drawing the blank, the ball handler for South Carolina got the Russell Westbrook treatment. Where Iowa, she got the Russell Westbrook treatment. Iowa literally backed up into the paint 15 feet away from her, daring her to shoot the ball. Matter of fact, one time she was like, I'm not even worried about her. You're just not going to drive past me. And they were double and triple teaming the post.
Well, but Drew, isn't that what we do? Like, as coaches, don't we tell our kid, like, hey, that big guy is not shooting at the three-point line. You don't need to go guard him. Back up.
This was a guard. This was a guard, Brian.
No, that girl wasn't no guard.
This was a guard.
She was a guard.
Yes.
She wasn't a guard. Yes. She wasn't a guard.
Yes,
she was a forward.
She was a guard. She was a guard.
Well, then she should have shot the ball. Then I don't understand how you are a guard and you're not shooting the ball. That's shame on. Look, that's bad business for Coach Staley. And look, I don't won a couple of state titles as an assistant coach. I've never walked in these shoes. I've never led America to a gold medal. So I am the last person to critique Dawn Staley. But I would just say, anybody else, I would say, yeah, you know what? That's coaching malpractice there to have a player on the floor who's not going to at least attempt a shot and can't shoot. I mean, what is she doing? I'm just, I just so I mean, but I just kept watching that game by South Carolina, Drew, and I kept thinking, are they going to seriously try to say we're going to play inside all day and you got to stop us? While on the other end of the floor, Iowa is running pick and rolls left and right. If it's not a pick and roll, it's a pick and pop. It's a jump shot three. I mean, Iowa is just looking ridiculous from so many different angles, right? So I don't know. I would love to discuss the strategy behind what was going on there in that contest, but needless to say, we're going to be talking about, was it classless? Was it the emotion? I know we don't want our player to do that. Let's be honest. Okay, let me preface this by saying, as a coach, no. In the regular season and all the games leading up to, I don't want my player to do that. I would advise them, don't do that. That's not us. Don't be that person. But in the last game of the season for the title, your team just put up 102. I don't think LSU. Look, hey, Drew, we might have to go look up the last time LSU men put up 100 points. Might have been somewhere around Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf when he was playing, or Pistol Pete. That's how far back it's been since LSU might have, the men put up 100. The women put up 102. 102 points. Ridiculous. And so, I'm sorry. Yeah, Caitlin Clark had 30 points. Great. But at the end of the day, all the theatrics, all this, you can't see me. Well, guess who got a scoreboard? Bayou Barbie and the gals from LSU. I just don't want them to do a post game of that whole little get the gat thing that the football players did. But I got a feeling it may happen. So yeah, I got a lot. I got a lot on my mind, Drew. A lot on my mind. A lot to say. Find me on Twitter at DRB365. I had a world-renowned sports writer blocked me, literally blocked me, Drew, because of a discussion that really I wasn't even having with him. I mean, I think he got tired of other people chiming into the discussion on Twitter, so he blocked me. He blocked me. I can't remember if he commented or I commented on him. I think I commented on what he said, and he commented back. And yeah, I mean, I'm like, looked up later, and he blocked me. I'm like, Peter Vesey. You remember Peter Vesey, right, Drew? Peter Vesey blocked me. I'm like, damn, I'm really hurt. I think we used to follow each other. He followed me. I followed him back. I feel like, I don't get a chance to hold on to too many relationships, Drew. I'm like, the dude blocked me. Jalen Rose.
We still got your
blocked me.
relationship.
I appreciate it. Jalen Rose blocked me. I still don't know why Jalen Rose blocked me. I'm like, because he's one of my favorite Pacers. I don't understand how Jalen Rose blocked me. A Pacer fan. I used to have a number 5 jersey. I loved when Jalen Rose came to the Pacers. 41 points in a playoff game with Reggie Miller. I love Jalen Rose. And then Jalen Rose blocked me. I don't understand it, man. Anyway.
Brian, while you go wipe your eyes, let's go ahead and take a break.
Let's take a break. Can we release the new softball and baseball rankings when we come back on the other side?
Or do we want to get into some basketball? Let's do the basketball. The basketball stuff first.
All right, let's talk about that on the other side. We got some more basketball stuff to talk about. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap. We'll be back in just a moment.
Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplified Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplified Development Services.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN SportsWrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Mobile banking from Truist actually works for you.
welcome back. It's Bryan and A.D. Or let me see, other way. That's A.D. I'm Bryan. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap. If you're not familiar with the BCSN Pod Zone, it's the Pod Zone aggregate of all of the shows that are on the Black College Sports Network that you can listen to in podcast format. If you're one of those Spotify podcast people, sometimes our shows appear in video format. Spotify is doing video podcasts now. So basically, doing what we're doing and putting it on video as well as the audio. But anyway, you can find the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere that you listen to podcasts. That's on Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. You just have to say, "Hey Alexa, play BCSN Pod Zone." And guess what will pop up? The BCSN Pod Zone. So I encourage you, just like we encourage you to go like this, hit the thumbs up button on this show. We encourage you to go download the BCSN Pod Zone. Give us a rating, review, subscribe. So that way, anytime we drop new shows, those shows will appear. And we'll try to figure out why that graphic keeps coming up every time our feed comes up. That's annoying. I don't know if you can go in and kick that and kill it, Drew, but it'd be great. But anyway, so last week when we were here, we presented our Black HBCU national champions in the 6 divisions that we have set up for basketball. Division I, men and women's, Division II, men and women's, and NAIA men and women's. This week, we got with our team, our people, our various show hosts and contributors that are part of the Black College Sports Network, and we are ready to release our BCSN All-Americans. So these are the men and women in the various divisions of the NAIA Division II and Division I that are All-Americans in HBCU basketball. And this is a great list of talent. Some of the names you are familiar with. Some of the names won various conference awards. Some of them have won awards with other publications and sites. Some of them are even national All-Americans. So this is a really great list of names. And so as we go through the list of names, we say congratulations to these young men and women on the great seasons that they had. We'll also reveal our coaches of the year and our national players of the year. But let's start with the All-Americans first, Drew. The NAIA women's level, I think, is what we have first up, correct?
Yes.
All right, so here we go. Our list of All-Americans for the NAIA level in alphabetical order from top to bottom. We've got Tiana Ayulo of Florida Memorial. She was the Sun Conference Player of the Year. You got Chantel Barnett, a teammate of Ayulo. She was a first-team Sun Conference player. Nia Bishop of Xavier. She was a first-team Red River. I believe that's the conference where Xavier is. How about Katie Blackman of Rust, a first-team All-GCAC member helping Rust win the GCAC. Maya Buchanan, who for the GCAC, I mean, what didn't she win? I mean, she was Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Newcomer of the Year. So Maya Buchanan at Fisk, congratulations to her. Aaliyah Dean Ahmad, also from Florida Memorial. She was a first-team all-conference player in the Sun Conference, leading Florida Memorial to a championship, regular season, and tournament there. And then a pair of players from Philander Smith. You had Deja Turner and Maya Yelder. Both took Philander Smith to had a 20+ plus win season. Heartbreaking loss in the GCAC championship game, but they did advance to the NAIA playoffs. So congratulations to those players in the NAIA level. And one of those players, one of those women, will be our National Player of the Year. So let's go to, while we're here in the women's division, let's go to Division II. Our Division II All-Americans begin with Nyla Allen of Savannah State, Anissa Fields of Lincoln, PA, Anissa Jordan of West Virginia State, Ashyla Jackson of Tuskegee, Amaya Tucker of Winston-Salem State, and Jatoria Willis of Tuskegee. So congratulations to those ladies. You got 3 there from the SIC, a pair of young ladies from out of the CIAA, and Anissa Jordan of West Virginia State, so of the Mountain East Conference. So congratulations to our All-Americans on the Division II level. Now our Division I All-Americans. They start with Camille Downs of Norfolk State, Ayana Emanuel of Alabama State, who I believe just declared for the WNBA, as did Jasmine Harris of North Carolina A&T. I just saw a couple people post that in the chat room. Erica Haynes Overton of Tennessee State. She was a first-team All-OVC. Destiny Howell from Howard was the MEAC Player of the Year. Angel Jackson of Jackson State was the Defensive Player of the Year for Coach Reed. And then Chanel Wilson of Bethune-Cookman, I believe, was a first-team All-SWAC player. So congratulations to those ladies recognized as our 2023 All-Americans. So I want to take a minute before we go to the next. Any comments? Just taking a peek into the chat room. Anybody got any thoughts? It looks like a good list. Any thoughts there, Drew, as you were voting or putting that, as you kind of looked at the summary of the votes? I don't hear you on mute probably, or is either I can't hear you. Let me hear you. Check 1, 2. I still don't hear you.
I was on mute.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. No, just a lot of, when you looked at the voters that we had a lot of people who were kind of torn. And the reason we have so many, more than your traditional 5 on our All-American list, was because we had a lot of ties. So instead of going through and breaking the ties based on this or based on that, some subjective things, we just decided to leave them all on there. All these young ladies are deserving.
All right. I see Edwin Moore say Angel Jackson wasn't listed on the first team all SWAC. Well, isn't that a foul play by the SWAC for leaving her off the first team? Even though she was the Defensive Player of the Year, but it is crazy. Sometimes the votes work out like that. I'm trying to think, where else was there a situation like that? You know what? Dariana Lewis, I recall a similar situation, I think a couple years ago, where I know Lewis, well, she ended up being our National Player of the Year. But I think that was a year when one of the Jackson State, either Holiday Williams or Williams Holiday, or who was the other guard?
Deja Rogan.
One of those two got the SWAC Player of the Year award. But really, when you dig into the numbers and you saw the kind of production and just the efficiency numbers of Dariana Lewis. You know, it's funny. A lot of times these conference awards, you know, I think a lot of times people really just kind of look at the stats. Like I'll say this as we get ready to go into the men's. Like I thought it was very hard to find, and I hope this doesn't sound like shade or anything, but I find it very hard to say who stood out in the SWAC men because when you look at the guy who really stood out, he wasn't on a team that I don't even think his team made the playoffs or the top 8 rather. Um, and I'm talking about Sean Doss. But for a guy who tried to put his team, who was just every night there for his team, it was Doss. So sometimes the numbers and the awards don't always match. And so especially when you have a defensive player like Angel Jackson, you know, her presence speaks for itself sometimes. And so I think you know, yeah, she may have been second team all conference, but was probably deserving of more. And look, when you only have 5 spots, and a lot of time these conferences have 5 spots and they hold it stuck to 5, Jackson could have been like 1 vote away from making first team. And so you'll never know unless, you know, somebody who's doing the counting spills the tea, but you know, it is what it is. So.
Right. Yeah,
All
and
right,
of course you can't vote for your own player. That doesn't help. So, and
yeah.
I've been in those rooms, Brian, and I've known when people have been up for like, we'll just say Coach of the Year, Brian. When you're Coach of the Year, and you know you are a viable candidate, and you wait on your peers to vote for you, you also have to vote for someone. And here's the question, Brian. If you think you're supposed to win Coach of the Year, do you vote for the number 2 person with your vote because you can't vote for yourself, or do you vote for somebody down at the bottom of the list so that the number 2 person doesn't jump you because you can't vote for yourself?
Are you sure you can't vote for yourself? I mean, you know, how's this ballot being turned in? I mean, is somebody actually checking that?
Most of the time, the software, because all this stuff is done electronic, it will not let you vote for somebody from your own institution. So, once again, do you really vote for the next best person when you think you are the best person? Or do you vote for somebody about number 4 or 5 on the list so it doesn't look so obvious what you're doing?
Edwin Moore.
Let's go on to the next one.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say tough comments, Edwin. I'm gonna tell you, tough comments. I'm not gonna sit there and disagree with that. I'm just gonna say that out loud. But okay, let's keep it moving here. So if you know, you know. If you're in the chat room, all you gotta do is look at the comments. It's tough though. All right, so here's our our 2023 BCSN All-Americans for the NAIA. And they start with Riante Childs of Philander Smith, Cameron Copeland of Tougaloo, who was the GCAC Player of the Year. Derek Finkley of Stillman was a first-team All-Southern States player, as well as Henry Hampton of Paul Quinn. Tristan Harper, who was a national, actually, it was just recently announced as an NAIA All-American from Langston, as well as the Conference Player of the Year. Cortez Mosley, also from Langston. I believe he may have even been Defensive Player of the Year in the conference. Taven Pierre-Philip, Florida Memorial, and Xavier Reeves of Xavier. So that's our 2023 All-Americans. for NAIA. Let's go over to Division II. Rodney Battle of Miles. Greg Boyd of Tuskegee. KJ Doucette of Fort Valley State, who took home a couple of awards in the SIC, including Player of the Year, and he's just a sophomore. We'll see if Fort Valley State has a better season next year to be able to add, if they can add some players over there. Terrence
see if he's even
Hunter,
there next year.
Oh, look at you, Drew.
Well, you know that's what happened with a lot of these underclassmen. They have a good year and they go somewhere else.
Terrence Hunter Whitfield of Virginia State. Malachi McCoy of Benedict. Robert Osborne, who was the CIAA Player of the Year of Virginia Union, and his teammate, Ramad Wright of Virginia Union, round out the 2023 All-Americans for Division II men. Congratulations to those guys. And now, the Division I 2023 All-Americans begin with Dominic Bruton of Alcorn State, Joe Bryant Jr. of Norfolk State, who was the MEAC Player of the Year, Cameron Christen, who was the SWAC Player of the Year of Grambling State, Junior Clay, first team All-OVC at Tennessee State, Sean Doss Jr. of UAPB, first team All SWAC, Shai Odom of Howard, and Sam Sessoms of Coppin State, another first team All MEAC. So congratulations to those guys, and those are our All-Americans. Again, our group of show hosts and contributors, along with Drew and I, those are just full transparency. Those are the voters in this. So, it kind of just comes down to the vote. So congratulations to all of those guys. Just kind of taking a quick peek here on the chats. Okay, so what else do we present? Are we gonna do the coaches of the year next?
Let's take a quick break, then let's come back with softball. Let people think about it before we come back to basketball, and to see who people who think are our coaches of the year and our player of the year. You see the candidates for player of the year, they all come off our All-American list on each level. So give us your vote for who you think our player of the year is. And if you got to chime in on coach of the year at a certain level, I know we've done this before, but why not? Let's see if you agree with the BCSN crew.
Well said. Well said. All right. We'll be back right after these words. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap.
At Tyson, we know taste is local. Some like their beef pit smoked, their chicken spiced all the way up, or their pork sweet and saucy. Local flavors, global impact. That's what feeding the world is all about.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loot machine.
Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit.
Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio.
That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplified Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplified Development Services.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN SportsWrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or
Tell them I'm hungry.
From novice to aficionado. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. As you can see, my brothers A.D. and Kelvin Rozier, who I co-host with on the ONG Strike Zone, looking clean at Saturday's service for our BCSN brother, Kofi Hemingway. It was a beautiful service. Hopefully you got a chance to watch it on Facebook. If you did not, it is on Facebook. If you go to ONG Strike Zone, it is there on our Facebook feed, and you can watch it. A long service, but a good service all the same. You hear comments from Kofi's wife, his daughters. It was Drew, I'll give you, obviously let you talk on it. Your thoughts.
Yeah, it was a powerful service, appropriate service. A lot of people, and I have to be honest, Brian, I forget about the other side of Kofi because I've been so enamored in the sports side of Kofi for so many years. Mm-hmm. And I forgot the fact that he was an ordained prophet. Mm-hmm. So, anybody who's been to a memorial service with somebody who is that deep into the church, a pastor, an elder, a deacon, a prophet, or prophetess, those services tend to be long and have a lot of different things that you wouldn't have at a normal service. A lot of extra singing, a lot of extra dance and presentations, etc., etc. So, it was long. It was long, but although it was long, it did not seem long. If that makes sense to you, you really weren't looking at your watch the whole time. And I thought it was most appropriate that his band uniform was next to his casket, and the 100 came in and did their thing. It was like, ironically, Brian, it was like halftime of a family football game, and they came in and performed like it was halftime.
Mm-hmm.
And did one of Kofi's favorite songs to send him out. And if you've never seen the Watching 100 live, when they do their, for lack of a better words, their march off the field with the snake, as we like to call it, when they come off the field and you hear their that beat, and the tubas do their routine, and they did it in the front of the church. It blew my mind, bro. Yes. And I've got a video. There's another video of it out there. Somebody else took a video and posted it out there. But when the tuba player dropped, and everybody knows that if you're a rattler or you've seen them, you know the drop that I'm talking about. Right in front of the pulpit. that I lost it at that point. And I don't mean lost it as in crying. I just like, oh my God, that was the thing. And of course, they came out. The intro was the same intro that you guys used for the OG Strike Zone. That was the first song that they played once they got into formation.
Mighty Rattler.
Yes.
I don't know. I try to think back why you choose. Like, I don't know why. I'm trying to think back. I don't know why I chose that song for our intro. Maybe it's because I love the way it starts. Because it always starts with the 4 whistles. Doop, 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 doop. And then it just kind of, it comes in. And it sounded like a great intro. And then it ends with, and I guess the way it ended, but it's like it's only really about a 45-second intro or so
yes.
it kind of felt perfect. It felt perfect for an intro to a show about FAMU. And then the other thing that we never really do that I started doing back in the beginning was when it was like time to roll up the show, I would play in "Hey, Let's Go." That's the joint that I would kind of put into the end of the show over the at the end of the show when I was doing the podcast, when I realized, okay, I got to do more than a podcast. We got to start doing these live. But when we were first doing the podcast, I would put "Hey, Let's Go" in the background at the end of the show, just because, again, hey, let's go. It's like, it's like, hey, what does it always say? You're trying to wrap the show up. Hey, let's go. It's like, it just kind of felt right. But yeah, I would encourage you guys again. We haven't reached our goal on Kofi's GoFundMe page yet. And I mean, I made another donation the other day, just, fortunate with a few plays that hit. So I said, you know, I'm gonna take some of these winnings and I'm gonna give them over. So I would encourage you, if you're listening or watching the show, go GoFundMe.com and just type in Kofi Hemingway, and the proceeds are going to his family. I think there's a goal to try to reach that Vaughn set up, and we're not there yet. And I think as long as that goal is still open, we'll do our best. And so I think what one of the goals over there, we talk about trying to remember our friend, is like you said, that side of him is, you know, a side that I didn't know too well, to be honest, but I knew of it. And really, you know, it's I wish I had more time to get to know that side, to hear Kofi and to visit him in that setting. So it's that's always going to be one of the things that I will hold in regret, never having any opportunity. And so those who did, I guess envy is, if that's the right word. I just I'm appreciative to know that I had a chance to work with somebody who could be so talented in so many different areas, two very unique mediums and worlds and spectrums. I mean, here we are.
And the skill of one tends not to carry over to the other. It can, but they tend not to.
Well, I just, you know, think some of the stuff that we argue about in sports. I mean, again, the stuff going on right now following Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, women's basketball, Dawn Staley. I mean, those have underlying feelings and tones and stereotypes, things like that that are mixed underneath them. And sometimes, depending upon who the messenger is, we feel even more based on who's delivering their take or their thought or typing their tweet, right? But on the complete 180 of that, we know God is love, right? And we know that these things that separate and divide us shouldn't really be there. So why do they? Right? So it's like, that's the great contrast of religion and sports, I think. But anyway, you know, it's just kind of interesting. So with that said, again, GoFundMe.com, Kofi Hemingway, please find some time to contribute, you know, whatever you can, whether it's $20, $25, $50, $100, whatever you have to give. I know it's all appreciative. Okay. Let's talk about our baseball and softball rankings, all right? Our softball rankings, we're in week number 4 of our baseball and softball rankings. And again, I feel like I got to say this, Drew. These are rankings. Rankings. See, unlike a poll where you take a group of people and you know, try to get everybody's take and opinion, these are rankings based on criteria. Wins, losses, strength of schedule, things of that nature, right? So as we get ready to talk about our softball rankings, and Drew, I want you to talk for a minute about what goes into the softball rankings. Again, just so people know that when you look at these rankings, and again, we have 2 divisions, Division 1 and non-Division 1. So basically in non-Division 1, it's actually a combination of Division 2 and NAIA softball. So Drew, can you talk about that for just a second? Because I know some people felt some kind of way over the last rankings that we put out.
Yeah, Brian. Had to put myself on mute. Let's take the obvious, Brian. Total wins, loss. That's looked at on two levels. That's looked at on an overall level and a conference level.
Mm-hmm.
Other thing that goes into it is strength of schedule, Brian. And before I come back to strength of schedule, we've got another couple three metrics that we look at from different sources, and so I'm not going to tell those. That's like the secret ingredients to the sauce. So I can't tell those, but there are a couple other metrics. But we're gonna stay with the obvious. It's just like your special spaghetti sauce, Brian. We know that it's tomato based. You understand what I'm saying?
I got you.
We know you got some garlic and some onions in there, right?
Yeah.
But there's some things in there that we don't know that give it that special flavor, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
So
right.
the tomato base for our ranking is wins and losses.
Okay.
You understand what I'm getting at?
I got you.
Okay. So
wins and losses overall and conference.
Overall and conference. We one thing that we do, we look at for baseball and softball, we look at your trend. And your trend is, what is your record in the last 10 games?
Mm-hmm.
Have you won 7 of those? Have you won 8 of those? Have you won 2 of those? What is that trend? That also factors into our ranking. So obviously, if you have won, say, 8 of your last 10, you're going to have a little bit of a better trend metric than if you won 2 of your last 10. All right. Now, let's get to this strength of schedule, which goes into there.
Yes.
Strength of schedule is determined based on your opponents. Whether you've played, and let's take a Division I team, Brian. If you're a Division I team, are all your games against Division I teams? And where does that Division I team rate among the 300 plus Division I softball program? If you played a Division II team as a Division I, where does that Division II team rank among the Division II teams? Same thing for the NAIA. Now, if you're Division I playing a Division II, that could be the number 1 Division II team, but it's still not going to be the same strength of schedule as if you play the number 1 Division I team. So it's measured relative to the opponent on their level, but if you're playing down a level, it gets discounted. If you're a Division II team playing up, it gets increased. And strength of schedule does not care if you won or lost that game. It just cares of the quality of the opponent that you played. Now there is another part of the sauce that kind of measures your opponent's opponents, if that makes sense, which kind of goes along with strength of schedule. So, are your opponents playing good teams? And all those things get factored in. We've adjusted our rankings this year to make them simple, to be on a 100-point scale. So every number is based on 100 within its individual category. and then all those numbers are combined together, and then based upon a 100-point scale. So the best ranking that you could have is 100.
Okay. Okay. So, it's
But you
just
can have a
interesting.
negative ranking. You can have a negative ranking. Because if you have 1 or 2 wins, and you have a bad strength of schedule with those 1 or 2 wins, you could actually have a negative ranking based on a negative strength of schedule. Just want to throw that out.
Let me guess. None of those people will be in the hunt or top 5, so we won't necessarily worry about them.
No, you
right.
You will not see them at all. But if you go and look at these various conference pages, you can figure out those about 2 or 3 teams that we have that might have a negative rating.
All right. So again, strength of schedule is a factor used in our rankings. Just to be clear, and that a team's value. What's the asterisk to that? But
Now,
I feel like there's a but coming.
I'm going to give you the perfect example of strength of schedule and how it factors into our rating. Let's take a team such as Texas Southern Baseball. Texas Southern Baseball this year is 18-11. Looks like a good record, correct, Brian? Let's look at Texas Southern's opponents. Let's go straight through the whole schedule. Lost to Mississippi Valley. We know what Mississippi Valley is rated, and they lost to them.
Yikes!
Beat Prairie View. Prairie View is respectable in our rankings. Lost to Southern. Southern's been hot and cold. Here's where it gets interesting, Brian. Wiley defeated Wiley. What level is Wiley?
Division 2?
NAIA.
Or NAIA, yeah.
Okay. Beat Wiley twice. Beat Randall University twice. Who the hell is Randall University? They are an NCCAA program.
Oh, wow. That's Christian colleges, correct?
Correct. On the same day that they played Randall. Remember I told you they played Randall twice, correct? On the same days that they played Randall, they played Arlington Baptist. NCCAA program. Right there. That's 6 wins against a team that is not 1, but 2 levels down. And 3 levels down. Wiley would be considered 2 levels down. Randall and Arlington Baptist would be considered 3 levels down. But they 6-0. They got 6 wins, Ryan. Competitive against the University of Houston, but for that metric, you got the University of Houston, lost a 3-game series to the University of Missouri. Then you have Texas Wesleyan, another NAIA, Brian. That would be 7. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, back to Division 1. Then you have a 3-game set with Arlington Baptist. That's 8, that's 9, that's 10. All of them wins, Brian. All of them wins. Then you have a 2-game set against Houston Tulsa. So 18 wins for Texas Southern. 12. 12 or against non-Division I opponents.
And I'm sitting here trying to while you're telling this, I'm trying to check Texas Southern baseball page to see if they've updated their series while you're talking about them.
And then Brian, I just got to throw this out here.
Yeah.
Who do they open up conference play against? UAPB. and they take 2 out of 3 against them.
Right.
And
well, they just took 2 out of 3 here. I'm just looking on Twitter. They got 11-10 win today over Prairie View in the rubber game. Is that right? The rubber game.
Yes, rubber match.
Yeah, the rubber match of the series on a walk-off 2-run home run. So they win 11-10 over Prairie View. So,
all right. So, as of right now, 19 wins for Texas Southern.
Right.
12 are against sub Division I programs.
Okay.
Strength of schedule, Texas Southern is crap for as far as the BCSN metric goes.
All right, so let's get into
three wins against UAPB does not help. A loss to Valley does not help.
Okay. All right. Let's get into the rankings. Let's get into the rankings here. Let's start with softball. Top 5 rankings here. Week number 4. We're going to start with the non-division level in softball. Is that correct, Drew?
Yes.
Okay. While you're getting it set up, I'll read the teams in the hunt. Down there, you've got Claflin, nice record, 17-9, 5-1 in conference though. Albany State, 18-11, 11-5 record. West Virginia State, sub 500 by a couple of games, 5-6 in conference play. Lane, 23-7, 6-4. I bet you some of those strength of schedule metrics apply to Lane, who has 23 wins. I know that's a head scratcher for a lot of people. Oh, they've got 23 wins. That's great. Winston-Salem State, go look and see who those wins are against. I'm just curious. You can see by the points of 40.02, they must not be on equal par with Lane. Winston-Salem State, 12-8, 6-2. Okay, so our top 5 consists of number 5, Stillman. Moving out of the in the hunt category up to the 5 spot, 26-8 record, 10-6 in conference play. Number 4 is Tuskegee, 16-14 overall record, 9-3 in conference play. Number 3 stays in the same spot as a week ago. That's Miles, even 13-13, 7-2 record. Bowie State is sitting in second place with a 21-9 overall record, 6-0 in conference play. Edward Waters still sits as the number 1 softball team in the BCSN rankings. Now, these are games played through Saturday. So if anybody played today on Sunday, this doesn't reflect in what is here, but I know Drew's going to update this, and when we release it out on Tuesday at the latest, it'll update. So I don't, assuming that Edward Waters didn't kind of lose 2 or 3 games today, they will probably still be number 1.
And Brian, let's go through the Lane schedule quickly. Russ twice. Crawley's Ridge College twice. Oakwood.
Just kidding. Go ahead.
Which
Those are
one?
NAIAs. No, I'm just messing. It's just these are NAIAs so far that you're reading out.
Oakwood twice.
Yep, another NAIA.
Arkansas Baptist twice.
NAIA, so that's at least 6 right now, 6 to 8.
That's 8. That would be 8.
8, okay. 8 wins, right?
8. All win. 7 out of 8. 7 out of 8.
7 out of 8. Okay.
Okay. Payne.
They're not even NAIA. Payne
The
is
NCCAA.
NCCCA, yeah. So
Yeah,
okay,
that's 9. Florida Memorial twice.
another NAIA.
10, 11. Payne again. That makes 12.
Mm-hmm.
Southeastern Baptist would be 14. So 13 out of 14, 13 wins out of 14 games played against sub D2. Check that. I found 2 more wins. That would be 15 out of 16 against sub D2.
So 15.
Maybe stop. No, I'm not done. We're going to take it to 16 out of 18 because they played the Cumberland University, which is an NAIA program in Tennessee. 16 out of 18 games played are sub NAIA. So 16 of the 23 victories are against sub D2.
Wow.
All records are not equal.
Yes, that's a great point. I'm gonna have to go look at that other person's rankings and just kind of curious to see where they put Lane. I'm just kind of curious, just
Lane
sniffing
wasn't
around.
in there. I don't think Lane was in them. They had Tuskegee, I believe. I think their argument was Tuskegee should have been number 1. But at that point in time, Tuskegee had an average conference record, and they had a subpar non-conference record. Now Tuskegee's turning around in the conference with a 9-3 conference record. So,
well, what's interesting is we agree in terms of the top 5. I mean, we agree. Some of the positions are similar.
They didn't have Edward Waters at all. They didn't have Edward Waters at all.
No, they have Edward Waters at 4. They had Edward Waters at 4.
My fault.
Yeah. Now there's a higher evaluation of West Virginia State. They must pass the eye test because the metrics, the numbers, aren't big fans of West Virginia State. So really, outside of that, everything else is kind of very similar. So, all right, but hey,
congratulations to the Steelman Tigers for breaking into our top 5. They've been inching up, and we finally got an NAIA team in our top 5.
Yeah, exactly. And that team has come a long way from what we saw a year ago. So, good things on the horizon there for Stillman. All right, let's move over to the Division I softball side of things. These are games played through Saturday. In the hunt, you've got North Carolina Central. Despite that 9-22 overall record, they are 7-0 in conference play. So I know you look at that and say, huh? Yeah, they're 7-0 in conference play. So Bethune-Cookman, 10-23, 8-3 in conference play. Tennessee State, 14-17-1, even 5-5 in conference play. Alabama A&M, 15-14, and Jackson State, 15-17, rounding out the, in the hunt group. Number 5 is Alabama State. Dropped a spot. They are 18-16. Number 4 is Florida A&M, coming up from out of in the hunt. And I will add, Florida A&M finished it off a sweep of Mississippi Valley State at home. So, the Rattlers are improving in the right direction. Grambling State dropped from 2 to 3. They are 23-12-1, 6-1 in conference. Prairie View moves up to that spot, staying unbeaten in conference, 13-15 overall. And Morgan State is the number 1 team right now in our ratings, with a 16-12 record, 6-0 in conference play. Any thoughts or anything you want to add?
No, I think it's just good. Got a good representation. Well, it's SWAC heavy, Brian. it's real SWAC heavy. You know, you've got your BAC team is the number one team, but everybody else is SWAC, even between the East and the West. But just interesting that it's SWAC heavy. And what has happened to Tennessee State? Tennessee State started out as our number one team. Now they are dropped now in the hunt as they've gone into conference play.
Yeah, and you mentioned SWAC heavy. How about the fact that Prairie View A&M with another weekend sweep? So that's three. They have opened the SWAC season with 3 consecutive sweeps. They are 12-0 right now in conference play, winners of 9 in a row. Over on the east side, talk about ultra competitive right now, as Alabama State is 8-4. Florida A&M is 8-4. The Rattlers have won 4 in a row. Bethune-Cookman dropped to 8-4 after losing today. So, and then hey, just 2 games behind is Alabama A&M and Jackson State, sitting at 6-6. So the SWAC East continues to be tough, despite what Prairie View A&M is doing over on the other side in the West. All right, let's go to baseball, Drew. I know we are short on time here, so let's get into the baseball rankings. In the hunt, you see Kentucky State, Virginia State, Lane, Edward Waters, and Florida Memorial. All a couple of those teams were former top 5 teams, but now they're kind of struggling a bit in the hunt. Moving up to number 5 is Miles, 16-15 overall, 13-7 in conference play. Number 4 is West Virginia State. They move up a spot, 12-10 overall, 7-3 in conference play. Savannah State now sitting dropped from 3-2, 18-8 record, 14-6 in conference play. Talladega moves up from 3-2 with a 21-10-1 overall record, 11-4 in conference play. And then you've got Albany State, number 1. I believe, Drew, is this the 4th or at least 3rd consecutive week that Albany State has been number 1 in the rankings?
Albany State has been number 1 every ranking that we put out for this year.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought. I was under the, I kind of thought that. So yeah, the Golden Rams continue to be a hot trending baseball team. So we look forward to seeing them at the SIAC championships. Of course, you know, if you missed the press release or missed the news, the Black College Sports Network will be streaming and broadcasting the Cricket 2023 Track and Field Championships, Softball Championships, and Baseball Championships for the SIAC. So all of that you can find with the Black College Sports Network. And so we are super excited, already starting to do some planning and figuring out, you know, how we're going to do what we're going to do and go from there. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to this opportunity. All right, let's go over to Division I now. Might be a little shuffling going on again. These are through Saturday, but there's going to be some shuffling in this because some of the outcomes dictate that it must be that way. In the hunt, North Carolina A&T, even record right now. Texas Southern is now 19-11. Of course, these are games through Saturday. Southern, Coppin State, and Jackson State in the bottom 5. So number 5 is Prairie View A&M. Even though the overall record is not impressive, what they're doing in conference play is 7-1. And number 4 is Grambling State, who moved up from being in the hunt. Grambling State 11-15 overall, 17-1 in conference play. Number 2 is number 3 is Bethune-Cookman, who previously was number 2, but they got a big weekend series. They won 2 out of 3 at home against Florida A&M. So that may shuffle the deck a little bit, for Bethune as they lost the opening night, a big-time pitching matchup, and then they won the next two on Saturday and today. So Bethune gets the win. Alabama State sits in at number 2. Last week, leapfrogging. Alabama State swept. I believe they played Alabama A&M Alabama A&M
Yes.
this weekend. They got 3 on their rival, so they are sitting tied at 7-2, along with Bethune and Florida A&M, who came into the weekend unbeaten and sitting in the number 1 spot. But the Rattlers, they lost in the midweek, and then they won the first game of the series, and then, as mentioned, lost the next 2. So I'm sure the Rattlers will not be number 1 once Drew finishes and puts out the new poll. But for today, it's nice to say for one more day, number 1 is Florida A&M. But again, all of this will change after once we calculate in the ratings from this weekend. Just to let people know the standings again, over in the SWAC, I mentioned 3 teams all tied at 7-2, Alabama State, Bethune, and Florida A&M. Over on the west side, Prairie View A&M actually falls to 8-1 because, as mentioned, they lost a 1-run game to Texas Southern. So now they and Grambling State are both tied at 8-1, and Southern sits at 5-4. Texas Southern 4-5.
Brian, 2 quick things.
Yes. Yep.
Southern lost to Valley. No, Southern lost to Alcorn. I'm sorry. Southern lost to Alcorn.
Yeah.
Somebody explain that to me. And Jackson State. Wait a minute, hold up. And Jackson State lost to Valley. What's going on in Jackson?
Any given, I don't know, any given afternoon, any given day on the diamond. I don't know what's the phrase that would be applicable to that.
That for Jackson State, considering the Southern loss to Alcorn is not that bad because let's be real, in the West, we already know who the 4 teams are going to be in the tournament, Brian. It's just a matter of what order will they be in. But the only saving grace for Jackson, and did Jackson win today? I'm sorry, you've got that stuff, you got it in front of you.
Ooh, baseball or softball?
Yeah, baseball.
Jackson State, they had to have won. They won today.
Okay, they took 2 out of 3, but they really needed that sweep against Valley because they came in 1-5, Brian. So right now it's between them and Alabama A&M for that last slot. So will the Bulldogs have enough to move ahead? And Jackson doesn't want to see those Alabama teams because that's who got them off to that 1-5 start, Brian. Those 2 Alabama teams.
Jackson State's got an interesting weekend. You mentioned Valley. They lost 13-14, 14-13. That's the equivalent of your kicker missing the extra point. It's supposed to be a routine extra point. The kid
somebody didn't get a bunt down somewhere.
And now we're down 14-13, and damn it, excuse me, you end up that's kind of how that rolled. I'm sure I'd have to go look at the box score to know more, but so Jackson State's got a couple of midweek games here against New Orleans and at Mississippi Braves. I don't know who the Mississippi Braves are. It's not Ole Miss, so I don't know if that's I don't know. I won't even try to guess.
Oh, you know what?
Jeremiah Clark can tell us who. Jeremiah Clark, who's the Mississippi Braves?
That might be a minor league team because they are allowed to do exhibitions against minor league teams. That might be the Mississippi Braves. Yes.
Okay.
As the minor league teams try to get themselves ready for their minor league season.
Okay. Next weekend big series. The Rattlers are coming out to Jackson, so that's gonna be That'll be a good one there. That'll be a good one. So we'll see what's in store there. Okay, Drew. I know we wanted to. Did we want to do Coach and Player of the Year?
Yeah, let's do a quick break. Come back and do that. Then let's pick up the show and get out of here.
All right, quick break. And then I saw somebody post something in the chat that kind of interesting. Might we see one of our top HBCU coaches on the move to a bigger job? It's possible.
For HBCU land, I hope not, but for her, I hope so.
Well, all right, we'll see. We'll mention that in just a moment. On the other side, you're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. Be back in just a moment.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
There's a shot.
That might be.
It could be. Right field. Grand slam. What a shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Mobile banking from Truist actually works for you.
All right, coming soon. That's right. The Cricket 2023 Track and Field SIC Championships, along with the Baseball Championships and Softball Championships, will be on the Black College Sports Network. Find out more information. Make sure you're following us at MyBCSN1 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are looking forward to bringing that coverage in the bottom of the month. I think at the end of the month, at the end of April. I don't have the exact dates, but
April 28th to 29th will be the track championships. May 1 through 4 will be the cricket softball championship. And May 4 through 7 will be the cricket baseball championship for the SIAC.
Okay. Man. I tell you, the guy who blocked me is still catching it. He blocked me. I'm just trying to figure out. My man blocked me, and he deleted the tweet. Well, see, what happened is he deleted the tweet that originally sparked the conversation. Which I think, first off, I mean, look, short of you using some racial slur or something, I mean, really, dude, are we really delete? I just don't think you delete tweets. I mean, you say what you said. Now, people like Twitter should have an edit button.
Which it does if you got blue.
Yeah, you need to go ahead and get the blue check. But, even that has a limit. You got 30 minutes, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
if you tweet out something dumb, you can go back in the next. You got time to go edit it. But the whole deleting a tweet thing is like I'm trying to find a good analogy of what deleting a tweet is like. It's like balling up a when you were a student and you got a test back. It's like balling it up and throwing it in the trash can. But really, you should be trying to take it, learn from it, study from it, get better from it. Maybe you need to show
Because
it
you're going to see
home.
those same questions on the final.
Because you're going to see those same, so like you deleting your tweet, it doesn't change who you are and what you really wanted to say or how you really feel. I mean, I just, I don't know, man. Just deleting a tweet, you just do better to come on your social media and say I was wrong, my bad, people. That'd be a better take than deleting your tweet and then blocking everybody in the process. I mean, that's low. I'm trying to see, is dude even, I don't know. If you got anybody out there, if you follow Peter Vesey, which first off, why would you follow Peter Vesey unless you were really a fan of the 80s? And I think here, I'm tell you what, this is going to happen now. Everybody who is, I tweeted this out and tell me if you agree or disagree. We love the swagger and the enthusiasm that we see from men in football and basketball or whatever. We love it. We eat it up. But when it's women or girls, I don't know, black girls, white girls, but it's not ladylike. People start clutching their pearls, and it's just like it's a double standard.
Men could cuss all day, but let a female cuss.
Yes.
It's not
and we get all kind of we get all in our feelings. So that I'm just like, that's what it feels like. It feels like, why all of a sudden are we, if you celebrate John Cena and you celebrate, all the other theatrics that you see in other sports from men, whether it be basketball, football, baseball, man, look, you let this stuff go. We talking, we let this. Neither one of these women are running for president, and neither one of them are, I don't know. Let's
just get to these coaches of the year, Brian.
All I'm gonna say is I predicted. What did I say? What did I say, Drew? I told you this was gonna be Magic and Bird. I just didn't think it would come to this. I really didn't think it'd be because of some post game or end of the ball game type stuff, man. I'm saying, I know I'm gonna have to really be careful about what I say and who I say it to. I don't want to get, I don't want to get labeled as a guy out there as a guy that's trying to give out too much common sense. Because when you try to give out too much common sense, it's not common, and some people just don't get it. All right, so it's time for us to come to the final. Before we do this, Drew, talking about coaches of the year and all that stuff. Former coach of the year, Tamika Reed. I just saw someone post that she's on the hierarchy for the Memphis job. Memphis University, of course, their coach, who happens to be one of my high school fellow alums, she is now going back to her alma mater at Cincinnati, which leaves the job open at Memphis. Tamika Reed, I'm sure it's going to be a big pay bump. I would guesstimate would probably make about maybe 5 times as much as she makes right now at Jackson State. Memphis is in the American
AAC.
Yeah, which not a bad basketball conference. There's going to be some shuffling to the conference, so you got new members coming, old members leaving. What do you think, Drew? If you were advising Tamika, what would you tell Tamika Reed, Coach Reed?
That U-Haul gonna cost how much? You got movers with that? I'm good. All right, we leaving next week, y'all. No offense to Jackson State. no offense to Jackson State, but you've got to make career moves. You got to do what's best for your career. Yes, you love your institution. You're at your institution, growing up there in Jackson, but at the same time, you've got to do what you have to do to put your family and yourself in a better position. And that's not the, as Dr. Cavill said, there's nothing has to do with the proximity to whiteness or anything else like that, because I don't think there's a better job than that Jackson State job as far as everything that surrounds it. But let's be real. There are some benefits as far as facilities go, as far as budget goes, and as far as overall notoriety. While Jackson State is big amongst people who look like you and me, our daughters, our granddaughters, our nieces, for other races, let's be real, Jackson State is not on their list, and there's a whole other group of talent that you could recruit to a Memphis. But on the flip side, Brian, there's a group of talent that you cannot recruit to a Memphis. So, and considering the base that Jackson State has in Memphis, I mean, we all know what the Southern Heritage Classic does up there. I think she'll have a lot of support for people who look like us at those Memphis games.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough because the difference in money allows you to do more things, and that's what's going to be hard to wrestle with when and if Memphis brings her in and offers her an opportunity to be the coach over the next 4 seasons for minimum $500,000 with growth and bonuses and escalators and things like that. That's going to be hard to turn off. And not only just how about the recruiting budget that she will now have? So
her recruiting budget will probably be what her current salary is.
Yeah. So, I know emotionally, and think about what she has done over a 4-year period. It's great, and so yeah, I look, Memphis would be smart to consider her, and I would say if the opportunity presents itself, go. I mean, be great at the next level. And I would say this about any coach that has made a place better than when you arrived. And so whenever she got to Jackson State, over the 4-year run that she's had, it did not have a better record or a better string of success over the 4-year period and what she's done. And it will be very hard to duplicate what she's done. Obviously, she could stay and can continue winning, but this year was the first year where I felt like more teams in the SWAC caught up to Jackson State. I think they realized that we gotta do some things different. We gotta change some things, and that's what it should be like. I mean, look, So I don't know.
And Brian, I just need to correct you on one thing.
Oh,
and
really?
Please don't get offended when I say this.
Okay.
Memphis is not a higher level job. They are both Division I jobs, which means they are both on the same level. Now, there are other differences between the job, but both of these are Division I jobs. So, I hate when people say it's a higher level. No, it's a Division I job. Now, that Division I job in that conference comes with more money. So it's another financial level, but it's not a different level of job.
No,
And, and I don't want anybody to say that Jackson State or any of our HBCUs in this case are a stepping stone. No,
I never
it's no
said that.
different than no. I'm not
said
saying
that.
you. I never said you, but it's no difference than a coach who may be coaching at say a Cincinnati, who goes on to a Big Ten school. It's a step up in financial resources.
But there's levels to this, though, Drew. So I mean, I get what you're trying to say in that. Yes, they're all Division One, but even within Division One, you have an FCS and an FBS. You have Power 6, and you have Power conferences and programs and mid majors. I mean, there are levels even within the world of Division One.
Correct.
So I guess so. When I'm thinking. I mean, there are levels to all of this stuff, and so it's like the difference between an A minus, an A, and an A plus.
It's still 4 points. It's still 4 points on my GPA.
Well, okay, but unless you in an honors program,
a 91 is no different than a 99 when you're on a 4-point scale.
All right. Let's move on. Good point. All right. We ready to announce our coaches, and players of the year within the NAIA Division 2 and Division 1. You ready?
Yes, I am ready.
You guys, I didn't see much comment there in the chat, so maybe you guys were asleep when we were talking about it, but you let us know how we'll see how you react to our players of the year. So, all right, so let's start with the NAIA women. The 2023 Coach of the Year is
wrong graphic.
Yep. Well, what do you know? We have co-coaches of the year in the NAIA level. We've got Eric Jackson Jr. of Rust and Gregory Stanback of Florida Memorial. Both men did a great job with their teams this year. Rust, of course, ended the year as the BCSN HBCU national champs. But I think the job that Coach Stanback did as well of running what was they run 17 games in conference.
18 in a row if you count the tournament.
Okay, 18 in a row, including the term. So I mean, that's an amazing run by Florida Memorial. So I mean, both we know both coaches, and this recognition couldn't have come better to finer men. So great job, Coach Jackson. Great job, Coach Stanback. Our NAIA Women's Player of the Year is Katie Blackman of Rust. And, Katie was a major factor in what Rust did. I was trying to see, I don't have my little sheet pulled up where I could tell you, obviously, when we do the good old write-ups and all that stuff, we can tell you all the superlatives for Katie. We'll put all that in play, but she was an outstanding player this season for Rust. Well-deserving of the award. So congratulations to Katie from Olive Branch, Mississippi. So shout out to Katie. All right, let's go to Division 2 now. Our Division 2 Women's Coach of the Year, Trelane Powell of Tuskegee. Not only did she lead, that's a surprise, but hey, no, congratulations, Coach Powell. Is this the second time she's won this award, Drew?
That would be correct, Brian.
Yeah, second time that Coach Powell's been our coach of the year in Division Two. Um, what can you say? Perfection in the SIC, unbeaten regular season all the way through the tournament. Um, you know, second year we've had a school do that. Last year you had Jackson State do that in the SWAC, and this year you had Tuskegee do it in the SIAC. So shout
So
out
next year
to
to be
Coach
in it,
Powell.
and so next year to be an NAIA program, Brian.
Yeah, hey, we'll start taking some bets on the side and start laying odds on who is the NAIA school that's going to run the table all the way through. That'll be an interesting topic to
Well,
to look
technically,
at.
I guess technically we did have one, except it was in the men's side with Tougaloo, but we'll see if we can get a women's team next year
You're
to
right.
keep the
You're right.
trend
We
going.
did. All right. Let's go to our Division Two Women's Player of the Year, and it is Shyla Jackson for Tuskegee. An outstanding year for her. I'm just going to read a little bit here. She averaged 15.1 a game in 26 games. This was coming from the SIC. She shot 47% from the field, 71.6 from the line, from the free throw line. She was the reigning player of the year, so she was the two-time player of the year in the SIC. Scored double figures in 19 games, 5 20-plus games. Had a season high 30 during the course of the year. She recorded 13 double-doubles. She was the player of the week multiple times, a box to row player of the week, HBCU national player of the week. Did she hit I don't know if she hit the 1,500 points and 1,000 rebounds in her career, but she was very close. That's a question that we'll have to ask.
Yeah.
Maybe Coach
And,
Powell.
and Ashyla is also a two-time BCSN Player of the Year, Brian, and she won, I believe, in 2021, the same year that Powell won, Jackson won. Player of the Year. So it seems like those two have been married at the hip when it comes to these awards. And this is the end of the road for Jackson, as she's exhausted her eligibility. And a great story for Jackson is a lot of people don't know, Brian, she had not one but two ACL surgeries in her career. So
wow, amazing job by her. Her ability to overcome the adversity of that. Okay, let's go to Division One now. Our Division One Coach of the Year, Larry Vickers of Norfolk State, and Norfolk State, of course, are national champions. And what a great job leading the Spartans to, I think they finished with like a 25 game. I will say this. They finished as the number one scoring defense. They had one of the top defenses in the country. I know I saw a funny tweet during the tournament where somebody had given praise to South Carolina for being the number one scoring defense. And our good friend Brian Howard over at Norfolk State was quick to say, no. South Carolina State was actually number 3, but behold, the Spartans were number 1. So Coach Vickers has done a great job there over at Norfolk State. So congratulations to him. He was also the MEAC Coach of the Year as well.
That's because Norfolk is on another level as South Carolina State. They don't play on the same level. Oh, my bad, Brian.
All right, let's go to our Division One Women's Players of the Year, and we've got a co-player of the year scenario here. So we've got Ayana Emanuel of Alabama State, who was the SWAC Player of the Year, and Destiny Howe of Howard as the Women's Player of the Year in the MEAC. It's kind of interesting when you look at these two, Drew. And I'll say this: this was for the Division I level. I don't think, and I say this with all respect, as strong as Emmanuel and Howe were, this wasn't a year where you had a Misha Williams Holiday or a Dariana Lewis, where you had a player that just stood out like two steps in front of everybody. I think the fact that Emmanuel and Howell were both players of the year, in their conference, are pretty impressive. I mean, they both averaged about 16 a night. So that means every night they came in and gave you their best. They both led their teams to very respectable conference records, and so I think it's kind of fitting that in the Division I level for women that we end up with co-players of the year. What say you?
I totally agree. I mean that, and you just take a look at our voting for this and see how tight it was. Where it was hard for our panelists to distinguish who Player of the Year should be. And
Votes came
it was
out, and
tough.
then they came out equal. Yeah, votes came out, and
Yeah.
they came out equal. All right, so that's the women's side. Let's go over to the men's side, and we'll start down in the NAIA as we get ready to wrap up here our show. And our coaches of the year, two of the best, and they had two of the great seasons. I mean, you're talking about how do you make the difference between Eric Strothers of Tougaloo and Chris Wright of Langston. I mean, I know Coach Wright was recently given an award through collegeinsiders.com. The name of the award slips my mind right at the moment, but a National Coach of the Year. He turned around a program that had one win last year. I was going to say one and whatever, but no, they had one win last year.
1-27. 1-27.
Thank you. And this year, I mean, up until the end of the season when they lost in the round of 16 in the NAIA National Tournament, they had only lost twice previously. And they were like 27-2. Yeah, so a 31-3 record to end the season. And then, of course, Tougaloo, I mean, look, perfect in the NAIA, perfect in the tournament. They won the first two games of the NAIA, got to the round of 8, our HBCU national champs. I mean, outstanding job by both men. And so it's just kind of reflective of the voting that they end up as the co-coach of the year. I think that's like the second time at this level where we've had co-coaches of the year. I think we had matter of fact, I think we had Teasley and Wright previously. I think the last time Wright shared this award, he shared it with another coach. So
Wright just can't get it. He can't get it in the right year. No pun intended.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna move on now after you did that. All right, let's go to our NAIA Men's HBCU National Player of the Year, and he is a little surprising. This Cameron Copeland of Tougaloo. A little surprised, but the voters selected Copeland. I think obviously probably it came down to Copeland and Harper of Langston, but I'm just trying to find my notes here on Copeland. Copeland, of course, leading Tougaloo. And I don't have any of the stuff pulled up, but I'll just say I'm a bit surprised. Drew, are you? I mean, well deserving, no doubt. I think Copeland was a well deserving player of National Player of the Year honors. And he did lead Tougaloo. Was the Player of the Year in the GCAC. Your thoughts, your reaction.
Well, full disclosure, I voted for Copeland on my ballot. Best player, best team was the way that I looked at it. So that's why he got my vote, Brian.
I wonder if NBA voters will think the same. I might want to go put some money on Giannis, who's third in sort of the Vegas line odds. But for sometimes it doesn't always go that way. But I feel you. I feel you though. Best player, best team though. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So congratulations, Cameron. All right, let's go over to the Division II side. Our coach of the year is Fred Watson. Coach of the year for Miles. When I think about some of the candidates for that position or for that award, you think of a nice group of men that he had to go up against. Guys like Jay Butler at Virginia Union, Cleo Hill of Winston-Salem, Horace Broadnex of Savannah, Benji Taylor over at Tuskegee. I mean, all guys who have coached and had a great season this year are recognized in some form or fashion. But great job by Fred Watson. Any chance, Drew, this is the first time he's won this award, or did he win any other previous year?
He won it for us. It was either last year or 2 years ago.
All right, we'll see.
Got a lot of repeat winners.
A lot of repeat winners. All right. That means, let's see, who is our Division II Player of the Year? He is Robert Osborne of Virginia Union. Averaged about 20 a game. Was the CIAA Player of the Year. Helped Union get to the round of 32 in the NAIA Division II
NCAA
tournament. Excuse me, what I say, the NCAA Division II tournament. So yeah, congratulations to Robert. Had a great year this year for Virginia Union. Regular season champs in the CIAA. All right, now for the Division I Coach of the Year. Kenneth Blakeney of Howard. Good selection there by the voters. Coach Blakeney led Howard to the regular season title and their first MEAC tournament title since 1992. And this just his, I want to say it's his second year or third year. Feels like it's hard because I know he was there right before COVID. Yeah, he was there maybe.
You got to think about, I think this might be his fourth year because you had.
No, it's not that long. It's not that long.
Bakur Maker was the COVID
Maker
year.
was his first year. That was his first year.
So
okay, that was the
that would
first
be his
year.
third year. That would be his
so
third year.
This is his third year. This is his third year. Okay. So yeah.
Couldn't remember if he was there 1 year before Maker.
No. He came in the same year with that happened. So hey, it only took 3 years for Coach Blakeney to get Howard to look like a champion, and they were definitely the good looking coach, well coached, and so congratulations to Coach Blakeney. Well, this will be interesting. Our Division I Player of the Year is Joe Bryant Jr., Norfolk State. Broadway Joe. A very interesting race again in the Division I men's, because again, as I said, nobody really, there wasn't that guy. Like, I mean, Joe Bryant was the best player, and let's just think, here's the impact of Joe Bryant, I think, Drew. Had Joe Bryant not got hurt or been out those last 2 weeks of the regular season, Norfolk State probably wins the MEAC. I mean, they were a different looking team, in the final week or two of the regular season.
Correct.
So it was very noticeable. And so that maybe is the impact. I mean, they got to the championship game. And look, what have we seen from Joe Bryant in the post game series? He was the MVP of the Reese's Senior All-Star Game. That was all of the Division I seniors, or that they brought in into the NCAA tournament, and then of course he also played in the HBCU All-Star Game. But Joe Bryant, one of the best, and so congratulations to Joe. All right, Drew. Well, good job. We will excuse me, sorry about that little cough there. We'll make sure to publish all of this. You'll see all this out on social media in the next couple of days, along with the story recaps over the next week. But obviously you tune into the SportsWrap, you get the preview edition of all this. So congratulations to all our award winners. That's going to do it. Drew, any final thoughts on tonight before we get out of here?
Jeremiah Clark says that, I know this is late to answer, but AD's question of how can Southern JSU lose to lesser talented teams? There is some very bad baseball being played in the SWAC this year by supposed blue bloods. All I am going to say, Jeremiah, it ain't just a SWAC, my brother. It ain't just a SWAC. We're going to leave it at that. All right. Jeremiah also said the JSU Mississippi Braves game was canceled due to field conditions. Every board voted for Coach Struthers.
Well, but he was a little surprised at Vickers over Reed. I mean, what do you want? I mean, I look at it. I don't hear you, Drew. I think are you muted?
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I was just scrolling through the comments.
Yeah, me too. I'm just looking at. I can see the argument for Coach Reed. I think winning. Put it like this: since our voting took place after the championships, like we didn't do this at the end of the regular season. I think winning the tournament or losing the tournament in Coach Reed's case, not that it's her fault, but it just, I mean, I think it came down, it probably came down to Reed and Vickers, to be honest with you. And, with vote, this is what I say, this is what's always funny about polls, which again, we basically take the nominees and we present it to our people, and so that's where it came down. It came down to Vickers and Norfolk State were our HBCU national champions. I think they were the number one team ratings wise in our rankings for every week except 1 week. There was 1 week when Jackson State was number one. And that was the week going into the SWAC tournament. And then they were number one no more. So I much respect to Coach Reed, but I think Coach Vickers and Norfolk State were deserving. And hey, they covered a 52-point spread against South Carolina. So hey, right there, winner chicken dinner. So Norfolk State gets my vote on that one. All right. If anybody wants to talk women's college basketball, hit me up at DRB365. Send me a note. I might be up for doing something tomorrow night. I want to see what the reaction is. I'm gonna be just listening. I'm gonna become a listener tomorrow of a lot of talk radio. I might even be a listener tonight. I'm one of them people, Drew. I like to go to bed listening to talk radio on the radio. But yeah. So Russell Hayes, good podcast. Appreciate it. Well, we give the MEAC credit. Yeah, the MEAC had a great year. Actually, I think MEAC basketball was better than SWAC basketball on the men's side. And you know what? I mean, there is Jackson State, but I might go so far as to say, even on the
More
women's
parity in the
side,
BIAC. More parity in the BIAC.
yeah, there were some interesting stories on the MEAC. Like, I mean, Morgan State women, I mean, had a good season, but kind of fell apart at the end. Howard got to the championship for the third year, but really nobody was talking about Howard for much of the season. You know what I'm saying? So, good storylines in the MEAC, and of course on the men's side, the Maryland Eastern Shore thing was quite interesting. So, uh,
But
you know,
we also give more love to the SIAC than most. We try to give as much love as we can to the CIAA. We could do a better job with the CIAA, but we do try to give love to the CIAA and the NAIAs, the GCAC in particular.
yeah, a lot going on there. So, look, we appreciate you guys hanging in with us on the late start and the late evening. I know some of us still have to figure out what we're going to do for a maybe not dinner, but somewhat of a late night snack to just keep my stomach is growling now, Drew. No lies, but I got to do something about that.
Don't you hate when your stomach feel like it's on your spine because it's so empty at night? But you really,
Yeah, see,
as well as I do, you ain't supposed to eat this late at night.
no, I'm not,
Heartburn
man.
or
But
something gonna catch up with you.
well, yeah, well, that's why I'm not. I don't plan on eating anything too spicy, but I'm gonna be a mess at work tomorrow at school. It'll be, kids, be quiet, do what you're supposed to do, just sit there at the desk, don't ask me. What time do we leave? I don't know. You gotta watch. So I'm gonna be real agitated with a lot of people tomorrow. So that's just how tomorrow's gonna roll for the first half day until the second cup of coffee kicks in. So that's just how my day is gonna roll. But that's gonna do it for tonight. Drew, it's been a long day with you, man. I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. So I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for your time today, man. It's been a pleasure working with you. Baseball game and then doing this.
Edward, boy, you wrong for putting that in, man. I just want you to know that.
Just
read
boy. What is he?
read the chat. Read the chat. We talking about food, man. He wrong for putting that in, man.
Oh man, yeah, you wrong for that. Oh,
You
Edward,
wrong for that, my
good
brother.
Lord.
You
Yeah,
gonna
man.
have me
All
coming
right.
to Mississippi or Louisiana or wherever you at.
Man, wow, that's heavy. Now my stomach's just like super growling now.
My mouth
All
is
right, well that's
watering.
gonna.
Just read that.
I know. All right, let's pick up and get out of here. Thank you guys. Make sure to follow all of the shows on the Black College Sports Network. Just you can follow us. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at MyBCSN1. Go download the Jericho Broadcast Networks app on the Google Play and Apple App Store. Just search MyJBN or MyBCSN, and then download the BCSN Pod Zone wherever you listen to podcasts, and stay subscribed. Go ahead and subscribe it, rate, review, all that stuff. We appreciate you watching on Facebook and YouTube. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out the door. Make sure to subscribe to those channels or those networks, please, wherever you are. Stay in tune with the Black College Sports Network. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We'll pick up where we left off, and I'm sure Doc will have plenty to talk about, as I've seen some cool pictures of him and Charles Bishop and Kyle Mosley at the HBCU All-Star Game in their hometown of Houston, Texas. So that's it for tonight.
And how great was it for him to be able to take his son to all the events, man? One day his son is gonna grow up. His son is gonna grow up and thank him for that.
That's cool having a dad with.
He don't understand it now, but one day he might.
That's cool having a dad with access. So, that's that's the one.
I wouldn't know how that went.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right.
My son's kind of lived that life with me having access to certain things. But
All right. More spring football will be coming up over the week. So we'll see more schools in their spring football mode, and we'll maybe talk
Don't
about
forget
a
my
little bit next
PSA,
week.
folks, when we talk spring football. Don't forget my PSA. It's only spring football. Those are their teammates that they're going up against. Don't get too excited and don't get too down, y'all.
All right. Well said. Thank you for AD Drew. I'm Brian Fulford. You guys be safe out there. Be smart. Peace out.
Well, holla.
But earmuff, you stay on hard.